we're going to pull other information. So letter A, they want us to work with the thumb and the neck, so the T and the N. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those. We're going to be using this column and this column. And for now, you can go ahead and use my information that's on the screen. Otherwise, you can flip back and forth between your two pages, 79 and 80. So I have to identify what do they want first. Well, the T is where I would normally have an X. So this is going to be my T column. And then my N is where I would normally have a Y. So this is going to be my N column. So I'm just going to pull that information in the exact same order that I see it. So here's my T's. They were 0 through 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And my N's were 0 and then multiples of 4. So 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and actually graph those. So it's sets of coordinates. Okay, so remember, this is like saying 0, 0, 1, 4, and so forth. So I'm going to go over to 0, up to 0, put a point. Okay, then over to 1, up to 4, over to 1, up to 4. So I do need you to notice that our boxes going up were each worth 4. So we're not going to go up 4 boxes. We're going to go up to the number 4. Okay, so then our next one is 2, 8. So over to 2, up to 8. And you can see the pattern. Over to 3, up to 12. Over to 4, up to 16. And over to 5 and up to 20. So once again, we end up with a nice perfectly straight line if we were to connect those dots. So it is a direct variation. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to identify the slope. Okay, that's going to tell us what our K is as we learn a little bit further at direct variation. It's going to tell us what it's varying by or what it's changing by in every single situation. So that's the same as our slope if we have a picture to look at. So our rise is 1 box, but really it's not 1 box. It is worth 4 because this is going from 0 to 4. So this is a rise of 4 and a run of, well, the boxes going horizontally are each worth 1. So it would be a rise of 4, a run of 1. So it would be 4 over 1, which is the same as just 4. So our equation is N, or our neck, is 4 times T, which is our thumb. So our neck is 4 times the size of our thumb. And if we compare those, well, we can't, 0, 0 is always going to be that. But if I were to do 1 times 4, that would give me 4. So that is giving me the answer. 2 times 4 gives me 8. That's giving me the same answer. So we're just identifying what that variable is that is changing in all of those situations. And we found out here that it's changing by multiplying by 4. Okay, so let's try another one. This time we'll do C. So that's at the top of page 81, I believe, of your practice journal. So same concept. This time we're doing T and W. So I'm going to mark those. So our thumb and our wrist. But here's what I need you to understand is, yes, we did graph that as the first one, but take note, this time they put the wrist here and our thumb here. So this is normally X and this is normally Y. So when we set it up, our X is now a W. So our W's are going to go in that first column. And our T is where we would normally see our Y. So we're going to end up flip-flopping these sets around. So my W's are here. So 0 and then multiples of 2. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then our T's were 0 through 5. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plot that data. So 0, 0 is over to 0, up to 0. There's our dot. 2, 1, so over to 2, up to 1. 4, 2, over to 4, up to 2. And then over to 6, up to 3. Over to 8, up to 4. And you see the pattern, over to 10, up to 5. So there's our direct variation. Once again, we have a straight line that cuts through 0, 0. Now we need to identify what our slope is. So our slope is our rise and our run. So when I look at this, our rise, well, that one spot there was actually worth 1. And our run this time went from 0 to 2. So our run was worth 2. So our rise was 1. Our run was 2. So we just found out that our slope is 1/2. So our thumb, the way that we would read this, our thumb equals half of our wrist. So T equals 1/2 of W. So if we knew W, we could figure out the thumb size. If we knew the thumb, we could go through and substitute in 1/2 and solve for our wrist there. Okay, so what you are going to do is you're going to go ahead and finish out D and B. And when you're finished, I want you to check with me with your answers. You can check them with my answer key. So that's it for the first part of this lesson. Good luck, and just remember, you have to pay attention to your rise and your run and make sure that you're not just counting boxes, but what each box is worth.